Today, we talk with Yolanda Jeffries. Yolanda is the managing broker and owner of Lux Life Realty, a multi-state real estate brokerage based out of Chicago. Yolanda shares her successes and challenges as she transitioned out of her full-time corporate job in finance to real estate. She specializes in creative financing, community-focused development, and luxury real estate. Yolanda's energy is sure to motivate and inspire you.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. I'm your host, Tina Lapp. I've been in real estate education for over 30 years, helping individuals enter and thrive in their real estate careers. We are here today with Yolanda Jeffries. Yolanda, will you take a moment to introduce yourself, where you live, what company you're with?
Absolutely. So I am Yolanda Jeffries. I am manager, broker, owner of Lux Life Realty. We are based here in Chicago, as well as Northwest Indiana, Maryville, Indiana, and Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh my gosh, we are going to jump into that. Your story is so exciting. So we're going to back it up a minute, and we're going to start with, what were you doing before you got into real estate? Because this is so interesting.
I know. Well, I could tell you that I never imagined getting into real estate. Before real estate, I was a corporate FP&A girl. So I'm a finance girl. So I like to tell everybody real estate messed up when they let me through the door because I'm a numbers girl. So in my past corporate experience, I used to work on budgets, planning, analysis, M&As, things of that nature, right? So I was typically sitting in the boardrooms helping to make those financial decisions.
Wow. And so I gotta ask, you have this big corporate job, you're working full time. How'd you make the decision to make the jump and get into real estate? Share that story with us.
Oh my God, it's a crazy one. The only thing I can say is, if you guys ever seen the movie Christine, yeah, that's my story. So I bought my first home, my very first home. But unfortunately it was, the market went through a crash and it turned into a short sale situation. And because of that, I of course did what every normal home buyer would do. You start going to the internet looking for an agent, right? So I would reach out to agents and have them to come to my house to see if they can sell my home. And I don't know, I thought my house was like Christine, that killer car. I thought my house was like that. Like every time someone would come into the home, it's like, oh no, not for me. And I'm like, no, but my house is good. Look, I have the updates. They have a little nice bar. Like, what is wrong? Updated kitchen, cabinets, bathrooms. Like, buy my house. But it seemed as though they just couldn't get it done. And so being the boss lady that I am, I'm like, listen, I have to sell this home, right? The amount on the loan that I owe for the property is higher than what the home is worth. I'm a finance girl. This does not make financial sense to me, right? So I did what I normally do as a boss lady. I went, enrolled myself into a real estate school, took some classes, passed the national and state exam, and voila, once I got my license, I just only wanted to sell one home, and that was my only home. And I was able to successfully negotiate a short sale, get the short sale closed. And once I went to social media and I posted about it, everybody kind of saw it. And that's when I realized it was other individuals going through the same situation I went through. I had my loan company, and the agents would tell me, oh, in order to qualify for a short sale, you had to show a hardship, right? Meaning you had to stop paying on your mortgage, damage your credit, which damages your credit, in order for the bank to approve you. And that's not true. The only thing that's required, and I want to let everybody know, the only thing that's required is for the value of your home to be more, right? The loan value to be more than the value of your home. That's it. That's the only requirement. But that's not what was told to me and several others. And once they heard of my situation, it's like I became a crusader for it. My strong humanitarian spirit came out, and there I was helping to save the day with individuals just trying to bail out of their home situations.
Wow. So you got licensed just for personal reasons and then found this really awesome niche that you could focus on.
Yep.
And so when you decided to get into real estate, you were still working your day job, right? Full time?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Okay. And did you take your classes? So like you did this, you're going to make the investment in yourself for yourself. Did you take your classes online in the classroom? How'd you do it? How long did it take you?
So when I first got started, because I am not as dedicated as most people will say, I mean, I am a smart girl. She graduated at the top 10% of her class, go Lindblom, right? But no, I cannot do the online thing. So I actually went in, I found a program and I sat in the classroom. I think it was about 4 to 6 weeks. And we had to complete, I think it was either the 75-hour or 90-hour exam, 90-hour class. And once you pass the class, then you had to go and sit for your national and state exam. And so with the class, I had to do 3 hours. I think it was like from 6 to 9 that I had to do on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So just imagine I have to get up Monday through Friday. I have to go to my corporate cushy job, right, where I'm making all the money at, and still get off work at 5 o'clock, get to my class at 6 o'clock, and stay in that class for 3 hours, get out at 9 o'clock and come home because I am a mom and a wife, right? I have to come home and help my children or attend to my children just to see because I've been gone all day, right? So that was a lot of balancing that I needed to do, but I did it because I knew what the goal was.
Wow. And I'm sure like you had to make sure your family was eating, you were eating, you actually got some sleep. Like that's a pretty rigorous schedule for the time you were going through classes. And so when you did this, like you established, like you did it for your own, so you could, and you've identified this niche. What do you think going into your first year? Did you think I'm going to just do this on the side, keep my cushy day job, or like what was your plan with all this?
So like I said, initially my plan was never to enter real estate. It was always just sell that one house, get in, get out, right? One hit or quitter. That was me. Okay. But it's like once I did that and I started helping other individuals, one thing I quickly learned is that with short sale, the commissions is not kind of where it needs to be. So I'm like, this is going to, and it requires a lot of work. I'm like, this is going to require a lot of time, a lot of work, but it is worth it because it's not about the check at the end of the day. It's about the impact to the people. And that's what I really wanted to do. Yeah. But at the same time too, I started developing a true passion for real estate and wanting to help the people. And I'm not going to lie, when I had my first normal transaction, and I saw that commission check and it was like, when you looked at the dollar amount, I don't know if it was 20 or 30,000, whatever it was. I looked at the dollar amount and I'm like, whoa, like, you know, I literally had to work 3 months before I got this and I could get this in one check. So if that's the case, I am working too hard on the corporate side. I need to scoop my chair on over here. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And then also on the commercial real estate side, right, when you see the commission checks there, I realized like I am sitting, because I work for Verizon Wireless, right, too. I'm like, wow, I can recall helping with the new store bills, telling the commercial agents, you have $250 million, go out and find me some property. And if you spent $250 million, that's a problem because I need you to spend $200 million to make me feel satisfied, right? But when I look at the commission on there, I'm like, whoa, they're making more than me. So yes, I definitely need to scoot on this side of the table in the real estate world because there's more money to be made over there. Plus, you can be self-fulfilled and help others too.
So Yolanda, how long after you got licensed did you decide that you were going to do this full time? And did you drop sort of your corporate job? How long did that take?
Yeah, well, actually, as I think about it, and I wouldn't recommend some agents to do this because I got started in December of 2017 And by April of 2018, I had a bye-bye corporate party. I just remember I had a bye-bye corporate party, and I said, bye-bye corporate. Yolanda's entering real estate. Had a whole party about it, right? Was super excited. And it was like I was just doing really good. My first year as a rookie, I had several transactions pending. I can also remember, like, I think it was between the August and the October timeframe. I had several transactions pending. I just knew that they were going to close. I had like 8 of them pending, and I'm like, these going to close. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a trip to Paris. Yeah, because I can do this. I'm balling, right? But here's the thing. You can have all of that pipeline flowing, but guess what? Those deals need to close. And when the deal doesn't close, you don't get a paycheck. And while I had the party and I took the trip to Paris, and I came back and the deals started falling out of the 8, only 2 of them survived, which means 6 fell through. And when that happened, my husband looked at me and was like, and you had a bye-bye corporate party. I think you need to put your finger up, send your resume back out, and go get you a corporate job, because this is not going to work. This is just not it, right? And I'm not going to lie, I did. In 2018, I think it was like November 2018, I slowly crept back into corporate. But that's when I realized I need to balance and work full time and try to do real estate full time. But eventually that was not going to work, because in 2018, leading into 2019, I started a team. I was like, well, if I can get other people to join me and I can have them to show properties while I'm, working during the day, maybe it would work, because I created the Yolanda Jeffries team. But that still wasn't it, because a lot of clients, yes, you can have a team, but they kind of want you. And especially when they want you and your experience and what you bring to the table. So I made a decision in October of 2019 to officially say goodbye to the corporate world. I'm making a decision to make real estate my priority. And from that, I'm going to give it 100% and just go crazy. And it's just been an uphill journey ever since.
Okay, there are a lot of like golden nugget lessons in what you just said there. Like, you said a lot. And that, like, and it's a great lesson for individuals who are thinking about getting into real estate, and this, like, planning on the paycheck before it actually happens. I mean, you did a lot of work. You had a lot of success early on. How'd you get all those transactions in your first year? Like, how'd you do it?
I would say networking, right? In real estate, you have to know that you have to put yourself out there, right? The deals are not going to come to you. The people are not going to come to you. If the people don't know you, they will not come to you. Now, a lot of agents, and I'm speaking to the new agents, right? A lot of new agents, especially if you work in a job, they tell you need to move in silence, right? Don't let everybody know what it is that you're doing, right? When you go to social media, don't post so much about real estate, because people when they go to your Facebook, they want to see you. They don't want to hear about real estate. Well, I'm sorry, I'm a disruptor. So when you go to my Facebook, you're going to see real estate, closing, real estate, closing. That's what you're going to see for me, because to me, a quiet mouth does not get fed. And if you don't open your mouth, you would never receive anything in return. And that's just pretty much what I did. It's like you have to get out there. You have to meet new people. You have to work your network, right? You have to build your database. And you just have to talk about it. You have to make real estate a priority. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways that you networked? Were you involved in community events, things with your brokerage or association? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when I first entered real estate, so I started out with the one company I've always wanted to work for, which is Berkshire Hathaway. I was like, that's just me. I need to be a part of them. Right. And I would say just associating, being a part of a larger brokerage, being able to network with a lot of my peers, go out to some of the industry events, it helped. Right. But the industry events is all real estate people. You can't just be in real estate circles. You have to be in the different circles. So I expanded, and I would, if the doctors I'm meeting, even though I'm the only person that's not a doctor, I would be there, right? If the lawyers were meeting, you can have an event and it could be all attorney driven. And this girl would be there. You can think that I'm an attorney, but I'm not an attorney. I'm a real estate professional, right? So it's like you have to disrupt the status quo, and you have to think differently, and you have to move differently in order to expand your business. And that's exactly what I did.
That's awesome. Great. So you're getting business, you go to Paris, you're having a good time, you're giving up your corporate job, and then you realize, oh shoot, it's not all closing. And like, what do you think was the biggest lesson you learned going through that time and that phase in your career?
I would say the biggest lesson that I learned, because I learned it twice too, the biggest lesson in transitioning into full, let's do real estate. Even though I entered real estate by myself, I wasn't technically by myself, right? I had my husband who was supporting me. So even though I made that, like when I first made the little jump out the box window and say bye-bye corporate, that was like, never do that again, never be that spontaneous, right? So the second time when I did it, it was like, well, I'm going to take FMLA just in case it doesn't work. I said, I'm going to do FMLA for 90 days, not the full 6 months, because I don't know if I can go without getting paid, right? I said, I'm going to give myself 90 days and I'm going to set a target. If I can drive my business and increase my sales revenue goals, right, and I can close some deals and I can do 3 times as what my salary was bringing in, then I will leave it, right? So I gave myself 90 days to do that, and I was able to accomplish that in the first 60 days. And that's what happens when you make a commitment to yourself, that if you want real estate to be your end all be all, you just have to go for it. And when I did that, right, and just going forward, I technically wasn't by myself. I still had, with having FMLA on my job, something to lean on to, but then I also had my husband, because in order to go full all in real estate, I had I had my children, I had my husband, I had a life. So I needed to be able to focus a lot on that, which means I wasn't able to give enough attention there. So having some support, having some family balance was great, because I think if I didn't have my husband to help me out, I probably would have paid some nannies and some other people to do it. But still, if you didn't have that, it's like, how would you have did it? So I would say just making sure if you do make a decision to move forward in real estate, you have a strong support system, because if you don't have that, it's going to come back and it's going to hunt you, because you don't get paid. There's times where you'll move through, and like how my transactions fell out, I had no check. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's like, where does the money come from, right? It's like, where would I get this money? And if you don't have anyone to support or lean on, it's going to be hard. So I would say build up a nest egg, set a goal, crush that goal first, make it 3 times whatever you was making and bringing in, make it 3 times that amount, and have you someone, you got to have a support, have you someone that you can lean on just in case. And then I think you'll be successful.
Yeah, it's a great lesson. And I think you're all the stronger for it. So you came out in 2019, like guns a-blazing. You've done so much since then. So walk us through, like, what came next now that you've kind of gone through some of those ups and downs, and now you're full time. Tell me how you built your business.
Yeah, actually, so once I decided to go full time, and I had my team, I kind of focused on, okay, in order to do more, you have to collaborate and grow more with other people. Like, I can do 50 transactions myself, right? I can do that myself, but I will probably get burned out trying to do all of that 50 to 100 transactions myself, right? But if you move in tandem with other like-minded individuals and get them to be a part of your team, right, now you guys can do more. You can do more, you could touch more, you can expand your reach and your impact. And that's exactly what my focus was, which is why when I went full-time in 2019 and I started my team, and I saw the impact that I was able to have, especially not only on the real estate community itself, but with my agents, the agents who worked under me, that's when I decided, like, Yolanda, it's more than that, right? If I look up to Warren Buffett, who is one of my mentors, right, for real estate, I love everything about Warren Buffett. Everybody would tell you I do. That's why I joined his company the first time, Berkshire. Like, hey, Warren, hey, Fran. But yes, I really looked into what, he was doing. He had the real estate company. He had the title company. He has the finance company, right? He had all those different things. And that's what I wanted to make sure that I was able to bring those types of services to the people that I work with. Because as an agent, sometimes we have to play the role as the inspector, the attorney, the lender, we do all of that, right? And a lot of that takes up a lot of our time that we're not compensated for. So it's like, how can I help them? And typically with these third-party individuals, the deal can fall through. And like I said, I've experienced 8 of them. And a lot of those deals fell through because the attorneys started getting really gung-ho with each other, and it became a chess battle, and they forgot that it was a real estate transaction and not a litigation. You're not in the courtroom, right? That you have a seller and a buyer really trying to make a deal happen. Or a lender gave a pre-approval without really vetting the income or really checking to see if the buyer has the assets, right, to do it, or the wherewithal. Or unfortunately, things just happen in life, and a buyer really wanted to purchase the property, but something unforeseen happened and you just can't close, right? So those are things that happen that you just have to be able to pivot and navigate through. And I was able to use all of those experience and blend them into what I needed to be able to deliver for the people. And that's why I made the decision not only to grow from a team, but to start my own company, Lux Life Realty, to be able to offer these services and be a thought leader to these individuals. Because when life happens and when things change, you still need a level-headed person to be able to think through and provide you a solution so you can get that deal closed. And that's what I became. That's what Lux Life is.
Wow. Yeah. And so now you've got your own brokerage, you've expanded. Tell us how that happened. How did you expand your business to other states? How did you grow the business? And you did so relatively quickly.
I did. And I think because I launched my own business in August of 2023. So we're going on. We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary. I'm super excited about that. But I can recall I did go through a personal situation that I think instead of it tearing me down and stopping my progress, because I was on a trajectory. In March of 2021, I lost my mom, and my mother was my best friend. She was my confidence. She was my motivator. She was the one that was like, yeah, I can see you walking across that stage and doing your thing, baby. Keep going, right? But she passed away sadly in 2021. And I think as opposed to me just taking it all in and, most people, it goes south. I guess I started heading in the north direction because that was the year that I made the cover of the Chicago Agent magazine, that I was on billboards, that I had my biggest year with results. And I started implementing, and I knew then in 2021 that I wanted to start my own brokerage. I started working towards that 2 years in advance because I knew I was bigger than what it was. And I was actually focused on carrying out my mom's mission, because I know she didn't get a chance to see the growth and the trajectory. She saw some of the growth and trajectory that I was on, but she didn't see the end product. And so I made it my goal to make that happen. And that's where I am today.
Wow. And I know that part of her is in you, right? Like, and driving you and driving your success. And I know she is looking down very, very proud. Yeah. So how do you get out of Illinois and into these other states that you're in?
Okay. Yeah. So, my network of people. So especially when I hit the cover of the magazine and was on billboards, I am, from a social media perspective, I have a brand and an image, and a lot of people just started following me, right? And not only that, I started getting people from different states. Like, it was people and I was just surprised. Like, I was getting people from different states saying, Yolanda, I need you here. I need you here. I need you here. And I'm like, I'm coming, but I can't go to every state. Like, this is just a lot. Right. Atlanta became, so technically Indiana was the first additional state that I added on. And I added on because I live on the border, right? In Chicago, with my suburban home, I live on the border of Northwest Indiana and Chicago. So it made sense to, especially, it was during COVID, a lot of people was looking for housing, and it was cheaper. The taxes are cheaper in Indiana. So I went and I did reciprocity, got my managing broker's license, and started in Indiana. So that was the first part. Atlanta came about because I do have family members and friends. I had a lot of friends, peers, people that was moving because of work, because Atlanta is a transient state that needed services. And because, if you go to Atlanta, you will not necessarily find someone born and raised from Atlanta. They come from different places. So because Atlanta was a transient state, and because Atlanta is, to me, similar to Chicago, it just made sense, right? It was very similar to like Indiana. Because people are transitioning there, it makes sense to be able to help them. to grow in that area as well. So that's how I end up becoming a tri-state broker.
Yes. Okay. And so did you have to get a license down in Georgia as well then?
Yeah, so in order to operate in a state, you must be licensed. So I was able to get reciprocity, and reciprocity is when you are licensed, like I was initially licensed in Indiana. I was able to reciprocate that over to another state. So the meaning, as opposed to having to pass the national, because I did the national before and that covers all state, I only had to do the state exam if it was required. So for Indiana, because I became licensed as an agent, I became a dual agent, I had to do reciprocity and take the Indiana state exam only. But once I did Georgia, I was already a managing broker in Indiana and Illinois. So I just got reciprocity for Georgia as a managing broker. And I did not have to pass the test. I did not have to go through all of the stuff that I had to do for Indiana. I just had to do a background check and open my business, and there I was.
Yeah, thanks for walking through that, because we do a lot of webinars on how to get started in real estate. And a common question we get is, can I do business in multiple states? And often the discussion kind of goes to like, to be successful in real estate, you have to know the area and the market. So how did you establish that in Georgia? Just, you've probably, with family there, probably spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, so really just narrowing in, and this is what I liked about Georgia, right? Because I'm local to Chicago. I'm not local to Atlanta, right? I only know some of my family members or maybe some of my friends that's there, but it's new, it's unknown, it's foreign. So really, by me expanding into Georgia, it's like it restarted me back as you're new in this area. So in order to grow your business and expand it, it's like, well, you have to really you're starting all over again. And how do you do that? You do that by finding a niche, right? As opposed to trying to go everywhere. Because like here, when I started as an agent, I was like, I could do north, south, east, west. I'll go to any one of these suburbs in Chicago just to do it. I don't care. As long as it's within 30 minutes, 45 minutes I can drive to, I would do it. But in Atlanta, because that is an entire different state that is foreign to me, even though I know some people, it's like you need a niche. So my niche became, my office is in the Buckhead area. Buckhead is my focus, right? And stand in that community first, and becoming a force to be reckoned with in the Buckhead community is the goal and was the goal, right? Where it's like, let's just stay in the Buckhead and let's get known in the Buckhead community first. Let them know, because once they know and you have ambassadors that will go and speak on your behalf, it will just trickle out to the surrounding areas and neighborhoods.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you for walking through that, because you hear that all the time. Like, you got to know the market, you got to know the neighborhoods, and the fact that you're picking one place and focusing on that. So let me ask, so what marketing and any market or all markets, like what marketing tactics have been most successful for you?
So a lot of my marketing strategy is around social media, right? And just resonating with individuals. So, I mean, every agent is different. Mine is just really speaking to the audience that I want, and letting them know, you know, in a certain area, even if it's downtown Chicago, why is it important to be here? Not just walking through a home, right? Showing them the real ins and out on this is what it means to live in Chicago. Expressing to them what a transaction is and how that transaction will work, right? Letting them see real world, a glimpse into this is what happens when you are a seller or when you are a buyer. This is what happens, right? So becoming that thought leader through using social media, that's how I was able to, that's how I do my marketing. I don't really do a lot. I need to probably do some postcards and, you know, send out those things. But I'm more of a, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let me show you, right? I can show you better than I can just send you a card and have you read and interpret it yourself. I want it to be more collaborative, more interactive.
And it sounds like you do a lot of networking, a lot of like in person, talking to people involved in different groups, and then your social media, which is real estate, real estate, real estate. I remember you said earlier, like just all kinds of news about what's going on. Do you post about like your recent transactions or activity going on in the market or all those things?
Yeah. So
Yep.
in my agent days, now more since I'm a manager broker, I don't do a lot of that. But in my
Yeah.
agent days, yes, if I go under contract, most people before, like most agents, they will post when they close. Like, I just closed. Okay, you just closed. Everybody knows what the closing is. But what about the under contract, right? When you go under contract, that's a celebration because that's the pivotal moment.
Yeah.
That's the moment where the buyer's like, I won. It's a multiple offer situation, and I'm pumping my chest like, yeah, she did it. She's the one. We're under contract. I did that, because that's what a negotiation happened. The closing is the final
Yeah.
goodbye, right? And
hmm
then also, inspections, appraisals, right? Showing those moments too, because most people don't understand those moments. So showing them, those different moments throughout the transactions, I think was helpful. And that's kind of what I brought to my audience is, these are some key things that you want to consider when you are on the seller side or when you are on the buy side. Also too, because I'm an avid, I'm a networker too. And I hosted Money Talk First Fridays. Like, my whole thing, as I told you my story, it was more about helping the people. And it wasn't always focused on let's just close and get the money. I wanted to educate the people on how to build wealth using real estate as an investment vehicle. So I started Money Talk First Friday. You see this green? Yes, that means money.
Yeah.
We talk money in real estate. Right. And it really was helping them to understand that money moves in different ways. Money can move with the banks giving you money. I was talking to them about OPM, other people's money, right? Not using the banks, using creative strategies. Lux Life Realty, we focus on off-market solutions for our clients because not all properties fit into the same bubble, right? Not every buyer is qualified to be able to purchase a home. You have some self-employed individuals with high income, but because they didn't report their taxes right, they can't get it. But you have the money, right? You have seller financing subject to assumption options that would allow you to acquire property, build equity for yourself, right? And start building wealth for yourself and your family. And those were key topics and things. Wholesaling, right? Most people, when you hear the word wholesaling, especially when you're an agent, it's like, you got those wholesalers out here trying to do my job and they're doing it all wrong. It was this combative thing. I was one with my Money Talk First Fridays that bridged the gap to say, hey, a wholesaler is no different than an agent. You guys should be working together for these buyers and sellers because you guys are doing the same thing. You're offering a piece of paper to try to get their property sold to someone else. It's the same transaction. So we need to work together to be able to get them to the end zone. And that's what it became.
Wow. And you really do have a unique niche there because of your financial background, because of what you did before real estate, you've brought into your real estate business to create something truly unique and really, really benefit your clients. I mean, I think you have something really special there. That's great. So keep going, keep talking.
And I try to tell because, attorneys, because, I have a title, I have a title agency. So attorneys, they look at me and they're like, we don't like Yolanda because she's taking our title check and she's taking it. And it's like, no, I'm actually trying to show agents who are out here working. If you're struggling and getting transaction, here's another opportunity on how you can still help your client by becoming a title agent, right? Being more transparent and disclosing upfront what it means. Most buyers and sellers, especially buyers, they don't know that when they do a purchase offer, that the seller, when they select the title company, that they're paying for all of the title fees for that opposing party. Most buyers do not understand that. But once I became a title agent, I made it very clear. My clients pay for expenses that help them, not for expenses that benefit your client. So sellers, you stay on your side. Buyers, we stay on our side. And that's why, like with the NAR lawsuit, it's like, I know it was unfortunate, but just so you guys know, I was the only agent managing broker that flew down to Kansas City, Missouri, and sat in that courtroom and heard the testimonies of all four brokerages and NAR and the plaintiffs about what was going on. I was very shocked because I was thinking more of the real estate community would be there, especially managing broker owners, but none of them were there to really try to find out what's really happening in the world of real estate. Right. And to see that, it's like, no, we got to make sure that sellers, when you're doing things that help and impact you. You can't try to get over on the buyer. And buyer, same thing there, right? It's more about transparency. So I know a lot of people talked about the lawsuits and things of that nature. And this is why most people may call me a disruptor, because I'm going to make sure that people are held accountable and you're very transparent about what the transaction is about so that we can close it and there's no issues. I do not like for deals to fall out. I like for those deals to close for the clients.
I bet you do. Yeah. We like to see them close too. I think that's great. I got to ask you, Yolanda, like you're flying around the country, you're going to different markets, you're going to the NAR hearings. Like, how do you balance your time? I know you've got a family. Like, how do you manage your time? That's got to be a challenge.
It definitely is a challenge. But that's the one thing I like about real estate is that you can plan. Yeah. It's all about planning, right? If it's not on my calendar, then I can't do it. But then with working for myself, I'm able to schedule when I'm looking to do certain things and try to fit that into the puzzle. But like I also said too, you have to have a support system, right? So I have to be able to have other individuals to help out when I'm not here to do certain things. So if I have to fly to, like we have with Lux Life Realty, we have discoveries in Punta Cana, Dominica, Dubai, right? International, right? From a real estate perspective to help the investors. If I have to go there, then I need my support system, my agents, right, to be able to take care of what's happening in the back. So I think building a solid foundation of support actually helps me to be able to do the things that I do and balance it out. So I guess that's it. And then just making sure that you have some understanding children, because not at all times are they understanding. You know, my son, he's 11, and sometimes he's just like, you know, I'll never forget. He had he plays football, and he had a game, and he really didn't think I was going to make it to his football game. And they had a banquet as well. He didn't think that I was going to make it. He was like, oh, mom is so busy. She's not going to be able to do it. And I was like, surprise, surprise, surprise. Mommy is here, right? Sometimes you have to pause and you may have to cancel a certain thing or say, you know what? I need to delegate this. I have to stop trying to do everything myself and utilize my team. So when I realized that I needed to utilize the help of other people's, that's what made it better. So now that's how I'm able to show up for my 11-year-old at his football game, or my 15-year-old, like she had a speech competition, to be there and be available for them. Or my two older kids, right? They're older adults, right? Kids, but to be able to be there and spend time with them as well. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is a balance. And, you know, in real estate, we tell people you got to put the work in, you got to work hard. Yeah. But you got to be careful about the other side of it. Like, but don't work so hard that you're working 24/7. Like, you still have to take time for yourself, because I'm sure it's easy to just fall into like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on, and take the time for yourself. Yeah,
it is.
You're a calendar girl.
And just to let you know, it can get very, very stressful, right? Because often at time you can have anxiety about, oh my God, I got, you know, this transaction, that transaction. How is that going? Is this deal going to close? Ooh, this, that, and the other. And it's like your mind races. It's like your mind races, and it's like it's never stopped. Most people, they'll say Yolanda, because she's in real estate, she's 24/7, right? But you can think 24/7, but you have to be able to say, I need a cutoff. And so what I've started doing is time blocking. I block off time specifically to say, okay, when I get up, I'll start at 6 a.m. and start real estate at 6 a.m. And I'll go from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I have to pause at 3 p.m. because my kids get out of school at that time. So from 3 to 6 p.m., I'm not doing anything but focused on my children. And then after 6 p.m., now I can go for an hour. And if I can go and work out, maybe I'll take that hour to go and work out, or maybe do a happy hour before 8 o'clock, right? Do something like that. Or when that happened, now I need to catch up, from 7 to 9, catch up on some of those emails, some things, read, and do some of that stuff so that I'll know when I start at 6 a.m. in the morning, who to reach out and who to touch and who to do certain things. But I have to set an alarm every night that no later than 10:30, you need to be going to sleep. You need to go to sleep, girl. So between 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m., you need to go to sleep and get some rest, right? Because you need your rest to be able to get up and go crush the next day. So, so that's that's pretty much what it is. It's like you can sit there and dream all day, but a dream without grinding is nothing. So you got to be able to plan it out.
Yeah, good advice. So I got to ask, what is the future look like for you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a great question. So being that I've been in real estate for the last 8 years, and much of the focus have been on the residential side of things, because like I said, coming over from corporate, I dabbled on the commercial side of things, but from a different hat, right? A different lens. I think now upcoming, because I am a finance person, and with me owning my own company and just seeing the magnitude of the way real estate is happening, you cannot look at real estate transactions the same traditional way, right? You have to be able to strategically think about how to get that deal to close. So in the next 5 years, I see myself really working very closely with, and I see that there's a serious housing need, and that's why I want to touch and focus on. So in the next 5 years, I can see myself working a lot on the private equity side, working with construction developers and helping them to, get the funding so that they can build these properties, these multifamily residential properties, so that they can help to bring that to the community. And while my brokerage, having my agents to be able to, service those needs of of buyers, to be able to get them positioned into the housing without using the banks, right? So that's my that's my goal, is really helping individuals to acquire property, right, strategically and creatively, but at the same time helping those individuals who are out here creating these housing opportunities with the funding, because there's a funding gap, and I want to be able to be that bridge. So just call me the wealth architect, because that's exactly what I'll be doing for both sides of the pole.
And you've got a vision and a plan, and I have no doubt that you're going to get there, because I mean, that's great. You do have a plan, and it's a beautiful thing. So
yeah.
So we're going to jump into our lightning round here, and I'm going to ask you quick questions, just first thing that comes to mind, 60 seconds or less. And we're going to start with, is there a book or a podcast that you've read or listened to that you'd recommend to the audience, and why?
So the 48 Laws of Power, read that book. Okay. So if you want to be successful, you need to read that. Okay. That is a good one. Every day is, you could just take a chapter and you can read, right? But you're not supposed to tell anyone, read the book. Okay. Read the book and apply that book.
Okay, that's a good one. I always ask that question. I need to create a book list, because there's been so many really, really good ones. That's great. If we had a time machine and you could go back to the day you started this journey, what would you do differently, and why?
So if I had to go back and do things differently, I would say, keep an open mind when it comes down to how to handle transactions, right? To not just listen to, I know your managing broker is going to tell you this is what you should do, but that's only because they're following the same thing that someone tell you. I would say take the time to explore, research, and learn things from yourself from a different lens, because you will find out that there was a faster, more easier route to go versus the same route that everybody else is doing. And that's how you become a leader. That's how you set yourself apart, and that's how you can get more closings.
Okay. Okay. That's great advice. Great advice. And not surprising coming from you, right? Like you're a disruptor, you're a leader, you're like, hey, I'm gonna challenge, I'm gonna go after it. And I love it. So if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, of course. Everybody should know the answer to this question. Warren Buffett. I would
I
love
was
to
gonna guess.
have dinner with you. It would just make my dream come true if I could just sit down at a table across from him and say, sir, where did you get all of this from? Like, who told you to do this in real estate the way you're doing it? Like, I just want to know. Like,
Yeah.
did it come
I
from
figured that was your answer. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
gonna
like, did it
answer
come from
for
your
you.
heart or did it come from the money? Was it the money aspect or was it truly you wanted to do something from your heart and help the people? Like, I just want to
Oh,
know. How do we align?
yeah. 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 And you're motivated by both from what I can tell, right? Like you want to be successful, but you also love being the problem solver and fixing things and giving opportunities. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah, because
So
one of the
tell us,
things I just don't like, I don't like
yeah,
bullies in real estate. I don't like it when people take advantage of individuals. This industry is based on they don't know what they
yeah,
don't know. And I know they don't know what they don't know. And now that I know that they don't know, I want to help you to know as best as I can.
yeah, yeah. Um, so Yolanda, what did you do at work yesterday? What was your day like?
Look, see, I be working so hard. I'm like, what was yesterday? Was it Monday or was
So
it
long ago.
Friday? Like, where are we at? Wow. So yesterday, see, the days go so fast. Like, what did I do yesterday? Okay, so yesterday, I had to go to one of the client's projects to check on the project because you can have a transaction and you think it's going to go great and then an anomaly happened. There was a break-in that happened at one of the client's properties and they needed assistance with trying to get back on track with the deal because it's like, well, they broke into the property, what are we going to do, how can we get this back on track so that we can close timely, right? And because we got to get another buyer because the deal just fell through. So it's like the deal fell through, the buyer fell out. Now you need a new buyer, and you have an open house where you're preparing for, and right before the open house, the night before, someone breaks in. And you're like, what do you do, right? So I have my agents that's like, well, we don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, this is what we're going to do. Because what we're not going to do is panic. So what I'm going to do is come over and assess the situation and let's quickly provide a resolution, to our clients so that we can get that door restored. And we have an open house. We're going to have that open house. We're just going to have to let these people know to have a open mind because that door, it could have been worse, but the door is fixable. So if we can let these buyers know that it is fixable, that it was an anomaly that happened, right? Who knows what can happen? And we move forward with it. And do you know, we were able to go under contract that same day because we allowed the buyers to come in and they saw because they know the neighborhood. They know that's not something that they do. Because just so you know, so everybody knows, when you have and agents need to be careful with what's being posted out here because we in trying times and these people are looking for ways to make money. And the way they're making money is when they see vacant property listings that have been fully renovated with new appliances and new mechanicals, they go and get a moving truck and they will pull up to your property and make the neighbors think that they're moving furniture out when they're stealing, right? And that's not good. And that's unfortunately what happened to one of our clients because you would have never expected this in the neighborhood. But that's unfortunately what they told us is the new thing that these millennials are doing. And it's like, okay, well, we got to take the steps to protect that stuff. But at the same time, we can't fold. So super excited that, we were able to still go under contract with that and get it done. So it's just battling some of those. And then just, it brings me joy because I am also a loan officer and I'm licensed in 3 states. And we work with the clients of Lux Life to get them pre-approved, right? If they want a loan, we help them to get pre-approved. So it brought me joy yesterday with a first-time home buyer. She really, really wanted to get pre-approved. She was really afraid that she wasn't going to get pre-approved. And to be able to say, you are pre-approved was great, right? That I do have a DU approval for you. So that was pretty much like kind of what my day was outside of my son. He came home and he had his child with him, and we're planning to go take the baby to see my see my father today. So it was just a blend of personal stuff and a lot of work stuff that happens that you just have to deal with. So
yeah. And sometimes you just cannot plan for this stuff. I mean, I ask the question all the time, and, like so many people have a plan and a schedule and time block for different activities. And then something like that happens. It's the world of real estate.
And you can't make it up either. Like, you just cannot make this up. Real estate is ever changing, but it's fun. You got to have, like I tell everybody, you got to have a thick skin. That's all.
Yeah. So, Yolanda, any final tips or tricks that you would lend to the audience of individuals who are thinking about starting a real estate career or recently started and having trouble getting going? Any tips or tricks for them?
Yes, I would say find a niche, right? Think differently. Do not move in silence, because people do need to know that you're in real estate. So if you do have a corporate job, and maybe you don't want them to know at work because that might be a conflict or it may get you in trouble. Okay, don't talk about it at work, but in your spare time, you have to let the people know that you're in real estate, right? So be ready to talk about your business and do that. But also you have to be a SME, is what I tell my agent, SME, right? A subject matter expert, right? Working your way to become a thought leader. Because once you're able to acquire those characteristics and traits about yourself, that's how you can truly start to inspire individuals to want to get into selling or buying real estate, right? When they see you understand the market, because like me, I get alerts on what's happening in the industry, from cranes, from market update statistics, looking at the numbers on what's closing. Like, you have to understand your business, because if you don't understand it, how can you articulate that to another person who definitely don't understand it, right? So being a SME, a subject matter expert, working yourself up to be a thought leader, and staying more in the arena of helping the individuals first, and not just chasing, how most people say, I'm chasing the bag. No, don't chase the bag. This is why my theme is chasing deals and heels. And I always have my heels on, right? Chasing deals and heels, because it's more about chasing the deals and ensuring that deal closed. And it's not always looking for the money bag at the end of the day, because that's not going to work. Because if you put the money aspect first, it's going to go south. You're not going to think strategically. You will not be able to think like a thought leader for your clients. But once you start putting on that strategy hat and you start thinking of yourself not as a salesperson, because most agents would say, well, I don't like to do real estate because I got to sell them on this property or sell them on the idea to sell their home. No, you don't. Stop thinking about yourself as a salesperson, because real estate is not about sales. It's about solutions. You are a solution provider. So start thinking about how you can provide that seller with a solution or that buyer with a solution. And that's how you can change the game.
Yeah. Great advice, great sound advice. And I hope people listening are paying attention, because that was great, Yolanda. So where can listeners or viewers connect with you to follow your journey?
So you can find us on the internet. We're under www.theluxliferealty.com. On Instagram, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Lux Life with Yolanda J. You can follow me on Instagram. On Facebook, it is Lux Life Realty on Facebook as well. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. If you Google us, you'll be able to see us, and we're there. If you want to call us, you can give us a call, 312-584-5543. You can just reach out and we can set up a time to have a conversation as well.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for the candid feedback on your experience, how it's progressed, the market, and your sound advice. Wish you much success. Appreciate the time. Such an inspiring conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to unlockingrealestate@colibrirealestate.com.